What's up, internet? It's EJ's here. I'm with Kenny Shane.
It's good.
We live on Discord. Um, let's see. Can I do this? How can I? There we go. There we go. Now I got our camera side by side.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. So what's up? How you doing? How you living today?
I feel like it's always a funny thing. A second, like you'll have a normal conversation, and it's like, all right, we're gonna hit record, and
Yeah.
then it's like, just a little different, and then it always takes like 30 seconds for everyone to go back to normal.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, everything's good. Just out here in a scorcher right now. You can tell my body's white as paste, so I'm about to get burnt out here.
I hope you got that sunscreen on.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go put some on because I'm about to get killed. Um, yeah, everything's good though, man. What's going on in Canada, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. A lot of changes in my life right now. In a good way though, and um, that's kind of gonna be reflected in my whenever my upcoming EP comes out. It's kind of about that whole process. And I'm bringing that up because right before I clicked record, you asked me what I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
So I'd love to tell you my. It's actually in order to explain it properly, I got to go with my origin story a little bit here for making music. So I I've wanted to make music my whole like from the moment that my brain just turned on as a kid in elementary or whenever that was. I knew that music was just it for me. It just did something for me, right? But I never actually kicked myself in the ass and took that seriously until I was 20. I started trying to write lyrics when I was 21. I never started making any music until I was 23. I'm 28 now.
Oh, okay.
Um, and so I knew that while, like, sure, I love singing other people's songs, rapping other people's songs, but like, I don't know what e-jazz sounds like. I wasn't spending any time trying to figure that out in the past, so I knew it was going to take some time to figure that out. So my plan was like, okay, well maybe I'll try to do like 3 EPs.
Right.
Um, just like for self exploration. Like, what do I like? Just experimentation. What do I fuck with? Like, and that's why if you listen to them, almost every song is kind of a different subgenre of hip hop because I like it all, and I don't really intend on sticking to one sound by any means, but um, I I just trying to like figure myself out. Play around, see what's up, see like
Yeah.
how I go. So, and then because I decided on a 3 EP process, I decided to make something even more out of it because I'm really a big fan of projects.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like the climate for the hip hop world or even the pop world, the music world these days is to make like 2 minute bangers, put all your resources into one single,
Yep.
and like just try to get as much flashy attention as you can get in one go, and that's fine. Whatever, people can do their thing, right? It's not like there aren't some bangers that came out
Yeah.
of that process, but I like listening to full albums. Like that. I not that I don't like singles and stuff like that, but I really like works. I really like concepts and stuff that makes me want to think.
Right.
So
Even the
even sorry, go
songs are
ahead.
different now too. Like the songs are shorter. Like back to what you said about 2 minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that big song in New York last summer was that CJ Whoopty, and it was like it's like almost that in between where it's a verse slash a hook, and you can't differentiate which is which because it just goes back like one time after they do it, and then the music's only like 2 minutes or two and a half.
yeah, yeah.
So it's interesting. Like that's kind of its own thing. It's almost like the internet and the way the mediums that we consume stuff created that somehow. You know what I mean? Like the attention span, they figured it out.
Yes.
They're really giving people what we need, what like not what we need, excuse me, what they want, like whether that's intentional or unintentional somehow throughout the marketing process.
Yeah.
Like marketing became more important than music, you know what I mean? So they just adjusted the music to fit how the consumer's going to eat it, you know?
That's big facts.
But,
And that's so deep too. Like that whole like you can find examples outside of music, right, that are new changes in the way we consume things for similar reasons, right? Like our technology is going like this.
yeah,
We don't know how to cope quick enough because it's faster than we can compute. So now everybody's just trying to like everyone's so busy with all this. Everyone's trying to multitask, do all these
yes, exactly. And
spread themselves so thin.
this
Yeah.
is what changed everything. So, like, just to go off on a brief tangent, like when I first started making music, obviously you had the physical CDs, and so that's like when I fell in love with rap, hip hop. You go buy an album or you bought a mixtape, and you would have to play the CD. And there was something about having something tangible that would make you listen to it because it's in your car and you put it in and you kind of listen the whole way through
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
default.
Yeah.
By default, a lot of times,
Yeah.
whether or not you even really love the project or it's what you had on you, so you just threw it in for your ride and you would consume it that way. And then from there, I think the next step was desktop. So that was kind of like the mixtape and blog era, where you had like Dat Piff, then you had Rap Radar, you had Not Right, and you would download the full mixtape, put it onto an iPod or put it onto your phone.
Yeah.
And this is like before our phones really had the ability to stream things so quickly and clearly. So it was still you sitting there looking at the track list you're about to download, making a decision. I always say like it's about the consumer making the decision whether this is worth it, and that started with: is this worth my $20? Is this worth my $5? If it's a mixtape, is this worth my money? Then it started to go to: is this worth the space on my computer to download this shit?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and now it doesn't matter, you know, because streaming something is just, I don't know. It's just a weird thing. There's no, I want to say, like, decision making process for should I stream this or not. Who cares if you stream it? Just you swipe and now you're on a new song and everything is just this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And to touch on that, I actually noticed the effects of that on my brain with my Spotify account. Because when I first got Spotify, I was like, oh man, I get to get all this music that I had to try so desperately hard to find before. I had to like spend forever on LimeWire or like whatever, trying to
Right,
download this. But now all these artists, even obscure artists, are available just at a search, right? But
right,
I didn't know like then all of a sudden I didn't know what my music, like what my prior, like what would I put on an MP3 player, right? So
right.
I just for my brain's sake, I made a playlist on my Spotify called My MP3 Player, and the icon was my MP3 player when it was like 256 megabytes.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah.
just so I know like what am I fucking with right now, like
Right.
so I can keep that because there's a purpose to it, right? Like having everything so readily available. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, yeah, there's the curation process which we miss out, right? Because like you were
Yeah.
saying, so much is gonna fit on an MP3 player. So if your iPod is almost at max, that next mixtape or that next album you're about to download, you're like, hey, is this shit hot? And what do I have to delete? And if so, like you're curating your own music. You're being a DJ and you're making a playlist, whatever it is. Everyone was doing that before. Now we have the playlist given to us. And
Yes. Yeah.
which is somewhat replacement of the radio because we always had radio, and I understand like sometimes you don't want to like sit there and pick what you want to listen to. You just want to throw something on, and it is what it is. But it's just there is no really thing that replaced radio, but what replaced like you just deciding what you're gonna have on your iPod? Like nothing. I feel like you know what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
except for people like you, maybe people like me that will actually make their own playlist, and it's only from time to time that I'll actually do that. Like I'll have like funny playlists on my phone. Like I'll call like a playlist Aubrey, like with Drake's like real rap stuff, you know, like stuff that I want to hear, and like make a playlist like that, and I'll have like different playlists like that of like some of my favorite artists, but it wasn't like a day-to-day or a weekly process the way it used to be. And
Yeah.
like with that, like music gets affected by that
Yeah.
because
And the audience and the fans too.
right,
Like the
right,
way
yeah,
they're connecting with it. It's
yeah,
like
yeah,
less it was so personal before. Like the music that you liked was so like part of your
Yeah,
identity, you know, because you had to go support, buy the
right,
thing, and like,
right.
and there was no phone, so like you had to immerse yourself in the concert experience when you went to go see them live,
Hmm.
you know.
And if you found someone that liked what you liked, it was more you're already kind of like
You know,
it.
yeah,
It's a connection because
yeah,
you're like, oh wow, it's A, you like what I like, so your perspective is somewhat similar. It's B, you found this, and it's kind of like, oh shit, like we're on the same wavelength,
yeah, 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 yeah.
which still exists, but
It
it's just
does.
it's different, you know?
And I want to be an ambassador to keep certain musical. I know times change, and I'm totally like that's that's fine, right? Like that's just
Yeah,
the
100%.
integral part of the human experience. I'm not
Right.
against that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to traditions, there's some things that are good to keep and some things that are good to move on from, right? So my
Yeah.
goal as
100%.
an artist is to find the things that are good and keep them while also taking in the good new. On that note, back to the attention span thing. Um, Sometimes I feel like when songs are that short, it's like you don't got more to say about that.
Yeah.
Like that's it. And so for me,
That's a good point.
I want
And that should let you know a lot
yeah,
about artists and like
yeah,
let you know like sometimes if I'm cutting something down, now like over the past 2 years, like my projects, I'm like, damn, like I have too much, or I want to get a feature on this, but I'm gonna have to take off a verse. Which verse do I want to take off? And
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
it's because I feel I have a lot to say about certain things, you know.
Yes, yes, yeah.
So it's like if you don't feel that way, then it's like, really, what are you saying?
Yeah. Well, then you're just kind of then your reasons for making music are different, which is also fine, you know, like
Right? Yeah, yeah.
but it's not what I want from me. Like I want to make music my goal is to make music so intoxicating that people can't help but get over that attention span limit that they have in place right now, that they can't help but get sucked in and you know
Right.
really immerse themselves. And I know it's going to take a lot of work and practice and attention in a
Yeah.
lot of different areas, but I'm into it. So that actually is very much so where I'm at with this current project. But in order to explain that, I still gotta catch you up because the three EPs are gonna be a trilogy, like even bigger than just like an EP or an album. I decided to make uh, a trilogy out of the first three about my process as a being born, reborn again as an artist.
Hmm.
Because I wasn't treating myself as an artist before that. I was just treating myself as a music fan and aspiring artist. And I knew that it
Right.
was here though. You know, right? Like I there's so many ways to think about this, but if you want to believe that people have a soul, that people are coming to the world with like a sense of self, right?
Hmm.
Already, like that that me was always fascinated by arts or by just the experience, like whether it's science or not too. I love science, but just experience itself, and I want to
Hmm.
translate that, you know. um,
Yeah.
so can I be right back? I left my water bottle upstairs. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
grab it really quick.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So
You know, let me grab something too.
all right, cool, cool. I'm really enjoying this chat. All right, catch my breath here because I ran up a lot of steps.
But that's important, like how you project and like what you say to people. That's like what you are. You know what I'm saying? That whole speaking into existence thing has a lot of power on different levels. Like obviously when you speak into existence, it's one thing to say like walk around and say tell people you're a millionaire and you got 2 grand in your bank account, but it's another thing to like say, hey, like I'm a prominent artist, I have a lot of work out. You obviously got to have the work to back it up, but somewhere along the line you're speaking something into existence which you might not necessarily be yet,
Yeah.
but the way you tell yourself and you put yourself out there, that's like that's like that whole Conor McGregor thing. Like he's a cocky son of a bitch, but there's like another level of thinking to it, like of why he's like that. And like he told himself he's gonna be the greatest. And sometimes you gotta be full of yourself to be that confident. And it's kind of different from what I am in a way. It's almost like my alter ego because I'm probably somewhat similar to you in the aspect that like I'm very humble. Like sometimes like I'm not even gonna mention the fact that I rap if I'm around people, or I might not mention the fact that I make music. But when it comes down to it and you have to introduce your own work, sometimes you just have to like just I don't know. You just got to talk highly of yourself, but in the right way. You know what I mean? It's all about working hard and working humble. That's kind of
Yeah,
my
yeah. I believe that you shouldn't have to. You can be modest without having to sell yourself short. You know,
right, right, right.
Lil Wayne taught me that.
Yep, I was just gonna get into that too. And going back to the whole mixtape thing and buying a mixtape, I remember like this is back '05. I was in high school, and '05 or '06, maybe it's '06. I was in high school, and I was at the gas station. They have mixtapes, and I usually buy like G Unit, like you know, the Locks, like all the other like New York rappers, and they had the Dedication 2 in there. It was Lil Wayne, and at the time I was like, yo, Lil Wayne's like trash, whatever.
Yeah,
But it was the only thing like left in there, and then I bought it, and it's completely changed everything for me about Lil Wayne. Like that whole skit by skit, interlude by interlude, when he talks about why he's the greatest rapper alive. Like I'm like, oh my god, I love this guy.
yeah,
And so it just like certain things like that, you gotta let people in, and once they see it from that perspective, it becomes a unique experience.
yeah. Absolutely. And that's funny because like I had a I didn't understand Lil Wayne at first. I was young, and for me there wasn't a lot of hip hop around me or like people listening to that kind of stuff. And the first time I ever heard him was on a video game, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. It was
Oh,
Go
Midnight.
DJ with Manny Fresh.
Oh, that's a classic.
Yeah,
Midnight classic too. Wow.
yeah, yeah. And so that song, I heard that song, and I was like, "Yo, this is different. Something's different about this." Um, and then little by little, I started to kind of be like, "Okay, I see." Like
I get it.
as time goes on, it's harder and harder to be original, and like you got to pay
Yeah,
respect where it's due. You
yeah, yeah,
know.
yeah. That's true. That's a good point.
But anyway, so my first project is called No One Is Alone. Um, it's about what it's like for somebody, definitely not for me, but maybe for somebody to be crippled by depression and anxiety, because I was when I wrote that, which ultimately led to me saying like, what do I got to do to get out of this? Well, I got to actualize myself as an artist, because that's the one thing that like I've just been pushing back this whole time.
Yeah,
Um, and when you're kind of suicidal, when you're really depressed, you know, you're trapped in the dark and you can't see, everything's dark around you, but every human's got their own light inside them, right? I believe that. So no one is alone is kind of about like the feeling, the event of somebody's light finally making a little appearance, and you just, you know, that's all it takes is a little bit of light, and then you can kind of go in that direction, right?
right.
And my second project is called Vision. I put that out at the end of 2020. I really wanted to get that out in the year 2020 because the year 2020 was only going to happen once. So Vision
Yeah,
2020, right? So it stressed me out, but I did it. But
good.
anyways, that one's about like what it takes now to act on that, what it takes to have make a game plan, how to start to slowly changing that mindset, which is in short to me a vision. Um, because that's like, you know, why would somebody want to kill themselves? And it's
Right.
in again in short because, well, there's no reason to look forward to tomorrow. Why would I want to make it to tomorrow, right? But if you have some sort of insight, whether it's to tomorrow, the next year, um, your vision within yourself, like it can be anything, just something to hold on to. You can really build off that.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then my third project will be the last of the trilogy, and it's called Rebirth. And so that's what I'm loosely working on right now. I'm not giving myself a deadline because I can't. I'm being true to myself as a person, as an artist, and it's about my rebirthing process. I don't know how long that's gonna take, right?
Right. Right.
I can only have it be finished when I feel like the process either is like, it's happening right now. So like I'm starting to write about it right now, but the project is kind of in line with my personal self growth too. And
Yeah.
it's kind of like, what is it like to learn how to navigate these emotions that come up, like depressive and anxious states are natural, right?
Right.
How do you manage, how do you deal with the overdoses of those feelings, those chemicals that come up? But bigger than that too, that's like on the mental illness side, but also like what it
Hmm.
means to like find myself again, to connect with yourself, like starting from scratch, starting from baby level fundamentals. What do we need? We need food, water, piss, poop, and shelter, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
like I'm gonna try to incorporate that in one of the songs, because one of my good friends, Zach, actually, my grandma was really ill. She had Parkinson's. She was kind of like on the decline, and I was just not doing too hot at the time in the middle of this pandemic. And the year 2021 was approaching, and I was like, all right, I gotta set a regimen for myself to like make sure I'm working out all these times, playing my guitar this amount, rapping this amount this week. But
Mm.
I already had too much on my plate. I just couldn't, right? And
Yeah.
my friend said, you know what you should do? You should clear your schedule and you should add two things. Like clear it entirely and then add two things. One, eating 3 meals a day, and two, regular consistent sleep schedule. Do those two things every day. Everything else is bonus time. And then I was like, what if I don't practice rap anymore? Like what if I fall out of practice? And then he was like, let your passions guide you.
Hmm.
And it was just like a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, of course, like hip hop found me, rock and roll found me, music found me, and it can find me again as long as I make myself available for that.
Mm.
So like starting from the ground level up, like making sure my health is in check, right? That
Right.
because your bodily health and your mental health are connected, right?
Yeah.
And things started kind of snowballing in a positive sense, um, instead of a negative sense, from there. And now I'm learning to like find comfort and acceptance in the fact that not every day is going to be like that either, though. Not every day is going to be sunshine and rainbows, right?
Right.
um,
Right.
so that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm working on the song Rebirth for the EP Rebirth. um, not to spoil too much, but I think it's the best lyrics I've wrote in my life, the best flow I've ever had in my life. You know what has been really exciting? The flow, the cadence, the delivery is actually like a step above my current capabilities, which is what I want, right? I want progression, I want growth. My best
Right.
was on my last EP, and I'm trying to get better. So the
Yeah.
fact that I know that like I wrote something that's like kind of too good for me at the
Mm.
moment. I got to
Right.
step it up. What do I got to do? Like what kind of practice is required? And that gives me like the confidence to like nail it, because I'm all about growth, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's where I'm at right now for that project, and I'm very excited about it. Yeah.
That's what's up, man. So how far? How many tracks you in right now?
So each EP is gonna have 6 songs, and that's just a homage to Iron Maiden, my favorite metal band growing up, because they had an album called Number of the Beast 666. I'm not like a Satanist or anything, but
Oh,
I was very much so into like the scare tactics that bands like that used in the 80s just to scare people.
yeah.
Um, so I was paying an homage to one of my favorite bands. So they're each gonna have 6 songs. And weirdly enough, I thought Rebirth the song would be the last song that I write, but it actually was the first one.
Mm.
I think it kind of makes sense because like
Right.
upon having that sense, now I can start to have some clarity for the required clarity for the other tracks that I'm. But this is all gonna be insider information too. Like hopefully my fans one day come back and watch this video.
Yeah.
But there's something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Have you heard of that before? Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Heard of Maslow. I don't. What is it?
It's a pyramid, and at the bottom, I wish I remembered exactly how it goes, but at the bottom is like fundamental human needs. So like I said, like food, water, shelter.
Right.
Um, the next step up is security. So that in this world it could be finance, morality, health, security of family. The third
Mm.
level is family and friends. So now like these like you got to start here in terms of your needs, right? Once this is taken care of, then you can move up here to security. Once security's
Mm.
taken care of, you can move up to family and friends, start taking care of them. And then after that, it's like um, self growth, and I think after that it's like introspection, like uh, experimentation. Like now you can really start to play
Right.
with your mind, kind of thing. And that's something I talk about in my last EP too, is how important playing is to humans. It's like people act like when you get older you shouldn't be doing that anymore, but it's like in our nature to do it. It's fighting nature to not play in some sort of sense.
That's the yeah.
So um, anyways, I'm kind of intending to structure my Rebirth EP like that. So like the first song will be that, like, food, water, shelter. My friend Zach told me blah blah blah, and
Mm.
then the second song will be like security. And that's been a big one for me because in the past I've been broke, but the fact that I was like sure of myself, that I liked who I was, I liked my morals,
Yeah.
I knew that I stood for like pure intentions and betterment of everybody else. I didn't really mind being broke that much
Right.
because I knew that like through integrity, things will change over time. I just got to
Yeah.
keep my head down. But I don't know, during the pandemic, I started really stressing about money just because there's so much uncertainty all the time. And like Edmonton, where I live, Alberta rather, the province, when COVID started, we were like one of the best in the world for the rates. We had like almost none. And then spring came of 2020. I was like, great, we did it. We passed the test and we're done. And we became one of the worst places in the world for COVID rates. It's crazy. And so there was so much, uncertainty here going on all the time. And anyways, now I'm trying to, like, I'm realizing these things, right? Instead of just being in the shit, like in the shitter about it all. And um that's it's like giving me a whole I had the idea for a Rebirth EP like way before any of this. I just knew that this was going to be like the process kind of thing.
Hmm.
And then like I had certain conversations with various friends, getting things triggered here and there, and I'm connecting with my inner child again. I actually have some lyrics that I wrote recently, um, because J. Cole came out with the Off Season, super great album, instant
Hmm.
classic in my opinion. On the song in the music video for Amari, at the end it says, "Hold on to your inner child," and you know, I think there's a lot of value to that statement. Like there's a reason why children are filled with so much joy, and like
Yeah.
there's something to that innocence, right? You got to get real. You got to live in the real world, but there's something to that hope, imagination, optimism.
Right.
Like it's so
Yeah. Jesus said, "Be like children." Like, you know what I mean?
yes, yeah.
That's definitely. And we have like three different states, like our parental state, our child state. I forget the other one, but it's kind of one of those philosophies of like where you need that balance. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
as you mature and you know you get into that next level of life, if you don't have that child state, like it's all work, no play makes Jack a dull boy or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, it's it's miserable, and like, you know, I mean, that maybe that's subjective, that it's miserable, but um you could think about it like brain exercises are good, right? Physical exercises are good and mental exercises are good.
Hmm.
And when you play with stuff, when you experiment, when you create, when you take blocks and you build something, you know, you're actually engaging a part of the brain, and you're, you know, that has long-term effects on your well-being. So exercise is just good, period, you know. And playing is like this perfect, well, not necessarily perfect, but this balance between strictly exercise and strictly just like enjoyment. It's like this fine line that you ride, um, where you can do both. And um, I since I was a kid and I wanted to make music, I wanted to make sure that I was an ambassador of this. You know, like,
Right.
I want to grow up and I want to show people that like I liked who I am when I was 14, even though I was kind of like emo and shit. But I liked who I was, and I want to show people like you don't have to conform. You don't have to try to fit the mold that society tries to
Yeah,
fit
yeah,
you
100.
in. You know, like, you got to be real with yourself. You got to be real with your surroundings, but you don't got to sell yourself. You know,
Yeah,
because otherwise, I don't know. For me, it's like I'd rather. That's not living. If I can't be me, am I alive? Like, am I alive? Doesn't feel like it.
yeah, yeah, 100%.
Um, so yeah, thanks for indulging on my process there and my current project. So to answer your question, I only have the lyrics for Rebirth done, but I think for once I'm actually gonna focus on just this song, and I might even release it first. I might, maybe I won't, but I might release it as a single first, because a really good friend of mine who is just a phenomenal filmographer, I'm blessed to have him in my life, is going to help me with a video for that I'm really, really excited about.
Nice.
Um, it feels like an opportunity to do what I mentioned that I wanted to do, which is really engage somebody, really immerse somebody. Another friend of mine, Mason, aka Monsoon, he makes beats and electronic instrumentals and such. He made me a beat in March 2020, and my head was in the clouds. I wasn't ready for it. So when he sent it to me, it's actually just like on J. Cole's off-season album. He said he even which song was it? Like the sixth song or something. He was like, someone sent me this beat like a year ago, and I heard it, but I kind of just forgot it because my head wasn't where it needed to be. But I told my friend, hey, this beat is great. I can't do anything with it right now because of where I'm at, but just trust me, I will at some point.
Yeah.
Lo and behold, uh, I come back to it like when it's time to think about the Rebirth EP, and I listen to it, and the beat is so innocent. It literally feels like I just came out the vagina. And I'm like, it's like Rebirth. It's like exactly that. But he didn't even make it for my EP.
Right.
It's just the stars aligned, and so that beat is perfect. I'm really gonna try to step up my mixing and mastering game, because I don't know anybody around me at the moment
Yeah.
that I can like work with on like a deep level, that'll understand like what I'm thinking and such. So I'm gonna try to do that, and I'm gonna try to like this video idea that we have. Like, some of the shots will take one day for just one of the shot. You know, we're gonna go in. So I think I'm gonna like curate the track, and it's gonna be more importantly than honestly what it'll be for everybody else. For me, it's gonna be a testament of like what will I do for art, like what lengths will I go,
Mm.
just to express, you know. I've had long hair since like grade five, like fifth grade,
Hmm.
um, and again, another little insider thing here, because I don't think a shitload of people are gonna watch this right now, in terms of like compared to like later on in the future. So I'll share a little secret because I want to tell you. I'm gonna shave my hair for the music video,
Oh shit. Okay. You should do it in the video.
I am.
Oh, nice.
And I know I don't even need to act for that or anything. It's gonna be waterfalls down the face. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I can't force it, but it'll be emotional for sure.
Right.
Because this has
Right.
been a part of me for so long, right? But the bigger picture is like, well, who? If I hadn't no long hair tomorrow, who would I be? Would I give up? Would I just not be me anymore? You know, I want my sense of identity to come from within or within. You know,
Right. Right.
so
Right.
um, there's a couple other reasons why I would shave my head. Like I kind of feel like I have a lot to do right now, and I want to take quick showers. but
Yeah.
uh, but to be honest, like I knew that if I was gonna do it, I wanted to make something out of it, right?
Right.
Like that's just an example of like when I look back at this video for me, right? And like I said, this whole trilogy is supposed to be for me to like develop myself as an artist, right? Like see what I would do. So this video, I'm gonna work really hard to make it something that I can look back at myself and be like, whenever I have a sense of doubt, like should I be doing this, or like maybe I'm not really that capable, or like maybe my ideas aren't that good. Whatever, whenever those ideas come to my brain, I can look at this video and look at the lengths that me and my teammates went to for art. Um, and that actually leads into one of the questions I had for you, um, if you don't mind.
Yeah. What's up?
So I don't have. So when I was making my second EP vision, part of my vision was to build a team, right? Like, I'm really inspired by a lot of rappers that build a team for themselves, make their own record label,
Hmm.
and they're kind of like a family, right? It's not like money isn't involved, but it's bigger than that.
Right.
Um, that's what I want, right? And that's kind of the first time I felt that was with my friend Monsoon, who made me the beat for Rebirth. He and I used to work at a club at one time. That's how I met him, and
Oh.
uh, and we just like we're both in similar situations. Like we're not making any money from music, but we're friends and we get each other. So he would make some beats and I would rap over them, and
Yeah.
we just kind of developed this relationship. Money was not a factor whatsoever, right?
Mm.
And that kind of got me thinking, like, you know, I want to build a team, but it's symbiotic, right? Not so I can have all this help, but so I can supply for other
Right.
people too, right? Like, um, and so I guess like, what are your thoughts on maybe the steps for building a team, or what kind of things you should look for if you're trying to build a team? If you're a rapper and you want to build a team for your projects, have you done something similar, and
Yeah.
what was the
100%.
process like?
So I had a team, which was kind of like the core, like the glue. Um, we've known each other since I guess it was like 2005, going back to high school, and then or somewhere around like 2008, like is when it got really serious because we were starting to do numbers, and so then we would outline goals, like we need to hit this. We'd have monthly goals and we'd have yearly goals each year, and they were helping. And then we'd all throw in money for certain things, like oh, we're gonna get a publicist to promote this album. All right, we each got to throw in $1,000, or we each got to throw in $500 for this, or we each got to throw in $200 for this. Like video shoots, like when it came to videos, like hiring models, getting a location, getting a photographer, getting someone. I mean, getting the videographer, getting someone to do behind the scenes stuff. Just it was just like a constant thing that we would do, and we were all aligned, kind of like on the same goal. And it was me and really three producers. That's really who it was, and two of them were making house music on the side too, like as we were kind of doing this. And as they got better at that, they had opportunities that were coming about with that. And so like I was like, hey, like just dive full on into that, like two, like really, if we're talking about, it was my two boys that were called Up North. They made the beat for Mac Miller that like led to like a lot of views and led to like a lot of things. And then my other boy Danny G, who was like just a beast. He could do any type of music, produce any type of music, and like we came together to form and kind of come up with these monthly goals. And that's probably the most growth that I've ever had as an artist, which is proof that you need that team. You know, especially when it comes to, if you're talking about doing metrics, you're talking about doing numbers, you're talking about building a fan base, building an audience. Um, and like I said, so two of them started doing house music. They were trying to get signed to a VG's label, and they had like a remix that got signed by him. Like they came close. Make a long story short, and then they kind of dissembled and started doing their own thing after that. But like, it's, you definitely need a team. You definitely need a team. How to build that team is tough. You need someone that's like minded, not just in music, because a lot of people like to make music, but then it depends what your goals are. Like you got to be like, are you guys just trying to make dope music to put online, or are you guys trying to quote unquote blow up and make money off of music?
Hmm.
You know, that's really where it comes to finding people that are like minded, that are really trying to be on the same wavelength and achieve the same goals as you. And it's a lot. You put a lot of stress on each other, but you need people that can build off of it and not take it personal. And you need people that, like, if we put goals up and three of us are doing everything and fourth one's not doing as much, or like, you know, you got to have tough conversations with each other. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, it's all about having those maybe awkward conversations or just real conversations with each other, and then keeping communication with each other. Like, what do you feel about this? Or would you like the direction that this is going in? You know, like something might work, and then there might be one member in the group be like, oh yeah, this is awesome, it's working, but I don't know if this is like I don't know if this is what I envisioned, you know. So it's just, I think it's about constant communication, but it's tough. Like, any, you definitely need a team. You know what I mean? Like all the people you were mentioning, like J. Cole, like he's got a team behind him, right? Like the whole,
Dreamville's a great example, a beautiful
yeah.
example.
So that guy Ibrahim, that's, he's probably the main plug, right? He's like the manager, whoever, and I'm sure like he was the one that either had the connection or developed the connections through networking. I don't know their full backstory, but he was probably the plug. Without him, J. Cole is just another dope rapper online, right? So it just shows you how vital having a team. And none of them are going to come out and say that directly, like a lot of times, you know. But that's what it comes down to. Like Jay Z had Dame Dash, had Biggs, and funding it. I mean, that's one of the biggest things. Is funding it. You got really, like, what's so inspirational about Jay is that they did it themselves, where they funded the music videos, they funded the studio time, they funded spinning the records, and that's where it gets tricky. Because if you're trying to blow up a single, it's gonna take you, if you really, it's gonna take you like $500,000 in today's world to like blow up a single. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these guys had drug money, or they have other people that are coming in to really make something like blow up. And that's where you get into the business of music and the finance of music, and you're functioning like a label. That's really what it is. Like, all right, if we invest, if each one of us, if there's four people here, we each invest 100 grand. What are we gonna get back off of this? You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother level. Like we were talking, like when we talk about my team, we were doing that, but it was on a smaller scale. We didn't have that much money,
Yeah.
you know. So when you're talking about that type of money, like it's really, you're functioning as a label, you know, and a lot of that is important because you have to treat yourself as a label to achieve those things that you're setting out to achieve. Like that's really all labels doing. They're funding you. They also have the connections, so it's twofold. Really, what they are, they're giving you that front that to say, hey, I'm gonna invest all this money in you, and when the money comes back, I'm gonna take my portion. And sometimes you'll see a lot of artists do get fucked, you know, because they'll sign a bad deal. But in reality, sometimes some of their complaints are kind of like without all that funding, who are you? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So a lot of it comes down to dollars and cents, and figuring out like how to right now it's so crazy, right? Because like what would you, it's all about finding out what's gonna work nowadays. So if you had 500 grand to start a label, what are you gonna do right now? It used to be much more like cookie cutter copy paste. Like we give the radio station this amount of money, they play the record a certain amount of times. We do this, we do that. Now it's all right. You're gonna turn around and give 25 grand to a girl that's dancing on TikTok to listen to your thing, or you're gonna give this person 50 grand to do this. You're gonna give this person all this money,
Hmm.
and how to invest it wisely to make it a movement to where it just takes on some natural viral like, and you hope it snowballs, right? Because once it snowballs, that's when you make the money. That's when you're getting paid to show up places. All right, yeah, I'll show up to your club, give me 10 grand, and I'll perform for another 10 grand. That's when you start recouping all your money. You know what I mean? And it's tough. You know, it's a tough business, and to do it yourself, you know, I really tip my hat to people that are truly doing it themselves because it's a big risk. You know what I'm saying? If there's much better avenues to make money, it's much safer investments in life. Like it's safer to go open up a restaurant, even though most restaurants fail. You know what I'm saying? You're really risking a lot, but it's if it's tied to your passion, that's what gets people to do it. And you know, the business of music and making music and developing a fan base organically and doing it, it's like two separate things, you know? And
Yeah, yeah.
it's like they can be, there's a gray area a lot of times within, but it could be two separate things, you know? So it's tough. And that's why you see like a lot of the music that we end up with now, because these labels don't have the money for artist development. They're not cared about what the artist is going to do on his third album from now. All they care about is, hey, this single, I saw it online. It's already, if I drop 150 grand on this single, push it, give this kid a deal, and then it starts bubbling, and then what am I going to recoup on my investment? It's just quick flips. That's really all the music industry has kind of become, um, because they want something that's some semi-viral. We're gonna put mad money into it. We might not even disclose the fact that we're behind it. We might catch it while it's starting to bubble up, put mad money behind it. As it blows up, say that he's unsigned, he's 100% independent. Then as he gets that buzz, now we come out and publicize the fact that we're behind him. You know, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors that take place with things like that too as well. So, and when you realize certain things, it kind of it makes things seem corny when you find out how certain things really happen. But that's the reality. Everything's illusion, right? It's all perception. So they're just trying to make what seems the best to like to a fan or potential fan. But yeah, I feel like I'm going on a tangent here,
That's
but
all right. That's all right. I'm soaking
but
it
what?
in.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to give you the real down low. So back personally, I guess like after like my original team kind of split up, it was me and my friend, and then we were trying to take on like certain people, but we didn't really find anyone that was like as dedicated. And it's tough because once you're have a couple years under your belt, you know things, and it's like bringing people along that either don't know as much yet or aren't as willing to put in the time. You got to kind of quickly decipher who's going to be beneficial to you and where you're wasting your own time trying to build a team. That's a whole nother thing. But definitely, you can't do it alone. That's 100%. You're not
Yeah.
going to do this alone. Especially if you want to build like something that's going to be profitable and something that's going to last a long time and leave a legacy. So with my personal self, like I would say I was doing that with me and my friend, and we were, you know, knocking on doors and making noise and really still trying to chase that the quote unquote dream, of blowing up and having a real profitable career off of music. And I think like maybe it was like 2017. So like my uncle went away, he went to jail, and then I like stepped in to take over like a lot of his business and business responsibilities. So I started making a lot of money, started not a lot of money, but you know, from what I was making, it was considerable. And so, but it was a lot of time. It was very time consuming too. When I was still always making music. Then a year after that, I had double heart surgery, and then like, you know, 2 years later, I have a daughter and stuff. So like, things that happen in life always gave me more to write about, but it kind of adjusted like what do I want from music and life, because it's like what's gonna bring me fulfillment, what's gonna bring me joy out of this. You know what I'm saying? It's frustrating like chasing the dream a lot of times. Like if and that's not to say like listen, I still put music out now and I still have my own certain goals that I want to hit with each project. I don't want to like say like, oh, I'm giving up or kind of give some type of defeatist attitude towards this. I'm just being a realist about like looking back on things that happened and going forward. Um, I still have certain things I want to do, and hey, something takes off somewhat organically and it blows up. Like I have a lot of experience now to, kind of know what I'm doing. I feel like because you learn so much, especially from you learn so much from your own mistakes. Like that. That's one of my biggest things. Like when we had the team, and we're talking like 2010, 2011, and like we had like videos that had 200,000 views, and we're building organic here and organic there, and certain things were actually really starting to happen. It's about what to do with that next step, and it's like some of the toughest things. This is one of the toughest things, right? One of the toughest things is once you get a big look, what the fuck to do next,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Because that's one of the toughest things, and I'll tell you that like for your own career. So like if I go on Sway in the morning, right? I do a freestyle on Sway in the morning. Like, oh, this is great. I get to meet Sway. 2 weeks later, he actually brings me back. I go on Sway in the morning twice, like in a month. All right, got like a nice little buzz going. This is dope. Put out an EP, dope. Now what? You know what I'm saying? It's like if you don't really have like that's the thing with the label, not only being the funding, but also having the connection to be like, oh, okay, you did Sway. Now we're gonna have you turn around and do this show. You know what I'm saying? So that's where like an actual label, aside from being its own funding, the actual relationships that they do have with people, that's where
Mm.
it'll differentiate. And it's really tough to do it independently when you get something big under your belt. How do we make this continue and keep pushing the snowball downhill and making it get bigger and bigger and bigger? Um, but yeah, but I think a big thing was like after I had uh, heart surgery. This was like 2018. I was like, what do I want out of this music? Like what are my goals? What's gonna make me fulfilled? Like because I've spent so much time, like all my free time I put into music, and it's hurt my relationship, like maybe with my family, or like just not being able to appreciate like certain little simple things in life. And like so I had to take a step back, and then also it made the music that I was making better. You know what I'm saying? So because I think my perspective changed a little bit, and the purpose of me making music was to just make the best music that I could make. And like you were saying at the beginning, music's also like self-discovery, and when you're really trying to figure out your true self, that's when you're gonna come into your best work. Because I always say like I would never need therapy because I have music, and you know that's really music's therapeutic, right? It's doing if you're being 100% honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the best things, and that's what's so great about a person like yourself. You can understand that, and the fact that you're setting out to do that, that's going to solve so many other potential problems or mental health or whatever it is, or just let you like live and lead a fulfilled life and be proud of wherever you are in life. Like you were saying, like whether you got $1 million or whether you got $100 in your pocket and that's it to your name, you're gonna feel good about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what you're doing is right. You know that you're on the right path, and everything's just the universe is falling in line, and that's all that really matters. And music is this outlet, and you're getting this self appreciation out of listening to your own stuff and having a hardcore following of people that appreciate your own stuff. You're on the same wavelength with those people, and you're able to inspire those people and get back real organic feedback that helps you make the next shit even better and better, and let the cycle continue. So that's kind of like where I've been over the past like 3 years, where I felt like, damn, like this is the best music I ever made in my life. You know what I mean?
More
And I
bars,
still,
less worries.
yeah, yeah. So I still always feel that way, and that's why like my thing is like I'm never gonna like if I ever stop making music, like I guess that would mean that like I felt like, damn, maybe I can improve or at least make it just as good, or if not a little better than my last one. You know what I mean? Like so I never hit that spot, and I've been doing this a while. Like you know. So I just feel like as long as I'm inspired, like I'm always gonna make music, and it's people that like such as yourself and other people online that inspire me, and it's not and that's a lot more fulfilling than me chasing like, all right, how do we get this next video to do 500,000 views because we got one that has 400. You know what I mean? And it's real easy to get lost in that because there's nothing like metrics and stats that it's tangible. Like this is your progression.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a metric system. Um, and but thinking like that and getting caught up in the views is what gave us people like Takashi and everything else. You know what I'm saying? So it's like obviously you don't want to say, damn, this no one listened to this one. Like doesn't matter, it's the dopest ever. Like you gotta track it somehow, but it's tough. It's really, 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 really easy to get lost in views and like followers and everything else like that. I just try to track it by the more people that DM me and like, yo, this really, I really fucked with this, and this shit made me go write a verse. Like, if I get that, then I'm like, all right, that's my metric system. Like, I don't need anything else, you know?
Right. So like when I first heard Progression by you, I was like, "Hey man, can I use this for a for a Call of Duty montage?"
Oh yeah,
But
yeah,
it's because I wanted to. It's not so much that I felt like I needed to use it for Call of Duty, but it was because that song at that time was what I needed to hear.
yeah. Right.
And so I happened to be playing that game at the time, but I wanted to create some sort of art form, kind of like my Rebirth song, some
Mm.
sort of thing where I could just look back at it. And like now, progression's kind of like a part of me a little bit. It's your song,
Right.
but like
Right. See, that's
I,
dope, right there. That's exactly why I do it, and
I
not to.
literally think about like your your words. They ring in my head, and I ain't ever stressing, cause every day is progression. Like I think about that all the time. And sometimes I have days where I don't feel like there was progression.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. 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 Right.
and
Right.
I guess at the beginning I would kind of get hard on myself about that, but I try
Mhm.
I don't anymore. It's like I said, it can't every day can't be perfect, but
Yeah.
like
Everything.
it's about the mentality, right? It's about like like
Exactly. Exactly.
bouncing
Hit 'em.
back, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. And just to kind of, I guess, like give like a maybe like one more last point on like music that I'm making now and where I am and like it even stems back to having this conversation with you to take the time out with you like to try and give you anything that like you said, yo, I want to hit you up. I got a couple questions, and then I said, you know what? Why not we just throw this on a Zoom, or why not we just record this because maybe someone else, maybe we'll drop a gem here or there, and post it, and then someone else could take it. And that's where I kind of am now too, because I'm like, what am I giving back? Like, what is my legacy? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is like really what's how am I gonna help other people that make music? That's really the foundation. Like, if my music's able to inspire people, like, why not try and take the time? I know, like, to you know actually connect. I wish I had someone that told me some of these things. You know what I'm saying? So I had to find out a lot of things by myself, or find out a lot of things the hard way. But um, I think really where I'm at, like trying to get back to people with music and any questions that you had. Um, and like a lot of stuff. I'm not sure if it was you. Did you ask the question that like the online versus offline thing? Was that you,
Mm,
or did we get into that, or was that like something maybe I was just thinking of bringing up?
I don't think we talked about it. I think when we talked last time, it was more so just about like what hip
Maybe it
hop
was
in
in your
Canada
voice
was like
note
for
or
me.
something. I don't know if it was in your voice note or
It might have been. It might have been in my voice note. I can't remember, but
because that's one of the quick things that like I wanted to try and touch on just a little bit. Everything's so online right now that it's easy to get caught up in what we are just talking about, the stats, the follows, the likes, the views. But there's another side of doing offline work, right? Like actually getting out there, meeting people face to face, doing shows, leaving physical flyers with people, putting stickers up, having your name buzzing around like a town where actually people know you and you're building somewhat of a base. And that stuff really can't be measured online. They say like online is only 7% of your social currency, right? So your word of mouth is going to give you the biggest boost and be the biggest proof of your brand that's going to propel you. Because if you go to a pizzeria, you ain't going to be like, I mean, now I guess people do look it up online, but it's going to be like my boys like, yo, they got fire pizza.
Yeah.
And him telling me that is going to be more than anyone leaving a Yelp review.
Yeah, sure does.
So I try to say, and like like a lot of the big accomplishments that I had, like going on Sway in the morning or doing a feature here or doing that, that came from all the stuff I was doing offline.
You
You
were
know what I'm
on.
saying?
Oh, you're on Sway in the morning. Oh shit, that's sick. That's very cool. That's
Yeah.
definitely a dream slash goal of mine for sure. Sorry to interrupt you, but I
No,
I
no, no.
I thought when you
I
mentioned
feel
it before, you were like, for example, if one were to go on Sway in the morning. But that's dope that you did go on Sway in the morning. Respect. That's very
oh
cool.
no, yeah,
I love
yeah,
Sway.
yeah. Yeah, he's a real cool person too. But anything that I did, like as far as that was concerned, or doing a show, opening up for Joe Budden, opening up for this person, like a lot of that stuff is offline. And I feel sometimes the relationships that you're gonna make offline are gonna propel you further than just like sitting at home trying to email everyone, DM everyone. Um, like it's really about meeting people and being face to face and seeing them and looking them in the eye and kind of, I feel like they'll go out and represent you a little harder than just like, not to say that your online relationships can't do the same thing. It's just I feel like there's another element to that, and sometimes it's harder to track, right? Because all those people that you just touched online, a lot of them might not go back and click the song and play it or follow you necessarily, but they fuck with you. So it's almost two different.
Yeah. Yes.
You know,
Yes.
it's
Yes. Yes.
two different things. Like
Even
offline
if
and
they're not
online.
listening to your music, they'll still recommend you to somebody else.
Right. Exactly. That's a great point. Like they might
Yeah.
have heard you drop a freestyle and it like, or they might have heard a song that you did, and they might not necessarily go back and follow you on Instagram and download your album because they might not just take the time out of the day to do it, because we're all like over flooded with everything nowadays. B, that might not necessarily be their cup of tea, but they could acknowledge the fact that you're dope. And then when it comes across, some like when you come up in a conversation, people are gonna vouch for you and be like, "Oh yeah, that dude's the truth." Like so, and that's
Yeah.
just gonna build your brand more than anything like online can. You know what I'm saying?
100%. I think that's how Billie Eilish got popular. Like when I don't listen to her every day or anything. Like usually I listen to rap. But like when I heard Billie Eilish for the first time, I was like, "Yo, this is the truth." Like I
All
can
right.
hear that her brother is her producer. Like I can hear their relationship. Like
Mm,
it's and the comfort that comes with that in the expression. And I was
yeah.
like, "This, I totally get it. I totally get it." Even though, and I obviously, I'm sure at a certain point there was more to it. Like she got managers and all that. But just like from the ground up, like
Yeah.
you can't. Doesn't matter if you're into basketball or not. You can't deny. You can't look at Kobe or Michael Jordan and be like, "Yeah, that. I don't know. I don't get it." You know, like you just
Yeah.
know, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good
you
point.
can't ignore greatness in front of you. So that's like one thing that I definitely I think about a lot. And on the note of um, the in-person stuff, it's like that's like ties in with I think our nature as humans.
Right.
Online is a very new thing to the human
Mm,
race or species,
yeah.
right? So it's like this is a really deep thought, but it's like, well,
But I would say
that's
that this is a pretty healthy medium, like as far like because I'm looking at you, you're looking at me, because body language says so much, and then
yeah,
also with just text, there's no context,
no tone
and
of
a lot
voice, no body language, yeah,
exactly, and so someone might say something online, but they might not say that shit to you in person,
yeah,
or in person, they might better understand you because they might be able to see something about your body language and the energy you're giving off is letting that person understand exactly what you're about a little bit more.
yes, exactly. That's like ties into something I think about so much these days. Is like I talked with one friend recently about how he like I communication is one of my favorite things about life, about existence, the fact that communication in any form exists. But
Mm.
I think a lot of people kind of, well, maybe not a lot of people. I just had a conversation with one guy, and he was talking to me about like how when you want to express something, you should say, you should be clear about it, and if it wasn't said, you shouldn't assume. But which I agree with to an extent, but I think that you can communicate in more than one way. Like
Hmm.
you don't, even language is not perfect. It's just like a tool that we have. Like there's things you can say in Japanese that you can't even say in English, and vice versa. You
Right,
know,
right. Well,
so it's like,
that's what makes hip hop so good, right? Because it's the dopest bars that you hear sometimes, at least for me, is like when someone's able to express something that is an exact thought or triggered an energy that
profound. Yeah,
I and like said something that I've been thinking and had a way to articulate it and make it so dope. That's what makes hip hop beautiful, right? Because
yeah,
that's what makes like damn like, and like you'll get that from certain artists, like whether it's like an Andre 3000, a Fonte from Little Brother, like even Drake. Anyway, J Cole, like they have a way to like say certain things on top of just being lyrical, on top of being great with flows, on top of whatever it is, on top of the basic elements of hip hop, it's their perspective and that able to channel something that made you that struck a chord with you and it hit you in the soul, it hit you in the spirit.
yeah,
And that's the thing that I feel like I'm always chasing, that we should always be chasing, because that's what makes it all dope. That's what makes it, you know, like, that's always better than the greatest punchline. Like the greatest punchline is always like, it's great, it's gonna make you go, this dude is nice, but like what's that next layer? Can he tap into that? And if he does, then I feel like you have a connection, and then you have hardcore following. That's
yeah,
it.
100%. Did you ever watch The Get Down on Netflix?
No, I didn't. I've heard about it,
So I completely recommend it. I rewatched
and
it again.
I don't want to cut you off. I got like 10% on my fucking laptop here, and
Okay,
then
no
I got,
worries, no worries.
but so I just keep finishing your point, but then like maybe we could touch on some other things, and then
Yeah,
whatever you wanted to make sure that we touch on, and then
we
we could always
probably
do.
won't have enough time then for everything. And to be honest, like later I have to go. My aunt is actually organizing kind of a rally or gathering for. Have you ever heard of residential schools before?
Like a boarding school.
No, it's like I think they did exist in the states, but in Canada, it's a deep part of Canadian history where, like, when the European settlers took over, and then over time they built these residential schools, and they're kind of like the equivalent of internment camps. Like, they're schools, kind of like they were disguised as schools, but like Aboriginal people, Indigenous people would be treated like slaves to some extent. Like their rights would be taken from them, kids would be taken from their families, and then they'd be try to like they'd try to have them like indoctrinated, like
Shit.
and so there's this one school in British Columbia in Kamloops, and I can't remember the name of the actual the territory for the because it was kind of a complicated name, the indigenous name. But recently, there's a record that's been found that 231 indigenous children died in this one residential school in Kamloops, BC, and that kind of came out, and it's been talked about in Edmonton a lot lately. So my aunt organized like a moment of silence today at this park in Edmonton at like 3 o'clock. So I got to get ready for that, anyways, too. I have like honestly, we didn't even talk about the things I wanted to talk about yet, and that's totally okay with me, except
Oh,
for the building a team thing.
oh,
That's totally okay
well,
with me because we could have a chat part two sometime if we want, right?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, definitely. Do this again. What was like one of the other things? Maybe we could touch on one of them and make it the last point. Like what?
sure. I wanted to just quickly add to the last thing that you said about starting from the ground up, starting with your city. That's part of my game plan. That's part of my vision for building a team.
Mm,
Is that I'm trying to put my people on, and whatever my people means to me, right? So like family, of course, but like friends and people on my team, my city. I want to put my city on, and
mm,
then I like my dream. My dream is to build schools in Africa and to like help people that are starving in Palestine. Like that's my dream.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, there's a huge financial aspect to it. I'm not against finance as a means of aid or assistance, but I also don't want to be. I don't want to sell Ejaz the artist to be Ejaz the business person at any point. That's like the line that
Right.
I, I, I don't want to cross because it's not me, and that's again what having a team would be good for.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing I wanted to say about the greatness thing is that John Mayer did a lecture kind of thing in Berkeley at Berkeley College, and one of the audience members got to ask him a question, and she said, "How do I get myself noticed? How do I get my music out there, and like how do I get people to listen to it?" And John Mayer said, "Good music will speak for itself." And I was like, "Oh shit." I'm gonna remember that. Anyways, so let's see. One of the other things I have a feeling you could tangent on it, so like I guess we'll keep that in mind because it's kind of a broad question, honestly. But it's what are some of the steps that you took once you realized or decided that you wanted to be a rapper, to pursue rapping as like your career and your lifestyle choice, or like what did you have a moment where you're like, this is what I want, and then what did you do from that moment?
Um, with me, I started so young that it's a little different. Like a lot of people now that I see that do it, they'll ask me this question a lot. And it's a great question, by the way. But people will say, "Hey, I'm thinking about like this." This is kind of a new thing to me because people will say, "Hey, I'm thinking about being a rapper," or "I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about
Right.
it." Like, to me, I'm always like, "Then what's holding you back from doing it?"
Yeah.
But that's the stupid asshole answer, right? Even though there's truth in it.
Yeah.
But for me, like I was doing it when I was 13, like sneaking into the technology room that we had in our middle school, doing it on tape recorders and tape cassettes, like after school, doing it to instrumentals, and then just I don't know, it was just something that I would have cassettes. I literally had cassettes, and then after that, me and my friends saved up money. We bought a an 8 track or I forget what the hell it was even called right now, but it was able to like
Eight track. Yeah.
it was a hardware where we were able to, yeah, to lay shit down, and then I forget the name of the specific thing, but um, and then it was on CDs, and then from there we were just able to start passing them out and passing it around, and I think it was kind of like just the fact of like, hey, I'm good at rap, I'm dope. What do you guys think? Like almost like this innocence of just starting out and just because it was cool to do. Like that was hip hop, you know. Like I think at right away at that point did was I like, hey, how am I gonna blow up as a rapper? Not necessarily
Yeah.
when I was 13. I think that happened more when I was 16, and then I was like, all right, like I gotta write, I gotta get these songs done, and that's a big shout out to my boy Papa. Like when we started doing albums, he was the one that would I would go to his studio and lay something down. He's like, all right, you can't just drop 32 bars on this. You gotta like do a 16 or you gotta do an 8, and we gotta make a song. And back then it was really 3 verses, chorus, boom, concept, 3 verses, chorus. What's the concept? What are we talking about this song? Is it about a girl? Is it about getting money? Is it about working hard? Is it what is this song about? Is it about being tough, punch someone or something? Whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
Um, learning how to structure, and then as things were picking up steam organically, it was like, all right, how do we make this thing happen? And then like from the second I was 16 all the way up till I was like 26, like I was just like completely locked in. Like it was everything. It was the first thing I thought about when I woke up. It was the last thing I thought about before I went to sleep. Like how the hell do I make this dream become reality? And like I was talking about a little bit before, like whether it was things that happened in my family and then me taking a bigger role in working 7 days a week and or whether it was me having double heart surgery, whether it's my daughter being born, is all these other things that are blessings, burdens, gifts that all happen in life that bring you a different perspective and let you know, hey, there's more to life than just you chasing this dream of music. And then I think it was just almost naturally happening at the same time where it was, damn, do I even want to be associated with some of these dudes that are blowing up? Like I felt
Yeah.
like I wasn't as up to date on what was coming out anymore because I lacked that interest that I always lacked of like, well, hey, what album's coming out next? Oh, that was like I was always like such a fan of being on the blogs and checking for new music as it came out. I felt like that kind of started to unravel a little bit. Like I still like obviously J. Cole's album comes out, I listen to it. I still got my guys. I still got like a dozen artists that I still follow, but it's not like, oh, who's this new guy and what am I listening to and how do I be that? It's not. I stopped obsessing over it as much, and as I said before, that kind of it went hand in hand. It just like was a good thing too because I felt like music at that point became me at 13 again. Hey, let's just make the dopest thing I can make, give it to people that fuck with it, and then see what it could do again. You know what I'm saying? Instead
Mm-hmm.
of like really trying to attack this dream every day of from like a business perspective because you have to take off your artist hat, you got to put on your business hat, and you got to say, hey, how am I going to make this blow up? How are we going to brand this? How are we going to market this? How much money do we have to put on a Facebook ad? How much money do we have to give to a publicist that they could get this on in a magazine or they can get this advertised on such and such blog? Um, because now it's more of like I just like wearing my artist hat to be the best artist I could be, and then yeah, like if I got a dope video, I'm still gonna try and make the best visuals and market it to a target audience and put money behind it for sure. I'm still down to do that, but it's got to make sense and it's got to feel right. And what are people organically gonna say to me about it? And then that'll leads to conversations like this, which is the beauty of it. And just like whatever I say here, hopefully it could be taken to help you on your project, and you're gonna help someone with their project. And then, like I said, like everything is just that's the evolution of everything.
Word.
You there? You disappeared?
Yeah. No,
Oh,
I'm here. Yeah. No. I like. There's a reason why someone like me would ask that question, right? Is because there's usually two kinds of people who are rapping. There's like people that have just been like kind of just been doing it, just like you can't even really
yeah.
track when it started. And then there's people that at one point
Like
were kind
there
of
was
like,
no internet. There was no internet when I started. Like there was like when I was in middle school. You're talking about it was the year 2002. Like you know what I'm saying? Like like that's like when I was making like tapes and CDs. So there was no internet. There like you didn't even think like that. So it was kind of a blessing the fact the way it was. And then all of a sudden, like we were evolving as everything in society was evolving. So everything went hand in hand in different ways. But I'm kind of really thankful for the time period that I grew up in.
yeah,
Um, I guess I'll just, you know,
yeah, 100%. And like I think that there's a little bit of that in my life too. My older brother listened to rap a lot when I was younger, like gangster rap for the most part. Like I mostly just heard him listening to like Biggie, and I remember liking
yeah,
Biggie a lot when I was a kid. Just the sound of that. I didn't know what he was saying, but just you know,
yeah.
the way he presents himself is very. I don't even know. There's so
Oh,
many
Biggie's
adjectives
the
I could.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, but and I would casually like know the
How old's your
lyrics
brother?
to he's 6 years older than me now, so I'm 28, he's 34 now. And then like little by little,
No, so
whether it was from
he's a
my
year older than.
uncle or oh sorry, what was that?
He's a year older than me,
Oh
so
okay,
he's right around my age.
right,
He's like from my era, basically.
yeah. And so I kind
You're
of
28, right? That's how
yeah,
old my.
yeah, so I kind of grew up uh I grew up listening to music that was a little bit before my time. Like I for both rap and rock and
Right.
roll.
That shows. That
Yeah.
shows.
Thanks, yeah. and uh and so I knew that like I remember in elementary school or something, I knew the words to "Pimpin' All Over the World" by Ludacris. Like, "Hey girl, how you doing? You are the woman that I'm really pursuing." And but I didn't think about myself any more than that. You know, I just like, yeah, I like some of these rap songs here and there. Yeah, by Usher, Ludacris and Lil Jon. Like that was my shit. You know,
That's
Nelly.
wholeheartedly big.
Like I was really into like that radio rap because that's all I had access to at the time. Chingy.
Were you big on Lupe? Were you big? Did you like Lupe?
When Lupe first came out, I really liked him, and then I just didn't keep up. And it wasn't until like this year and last year a bit that I realized I gotta like do my homework again. I know that he's a super sick dude. Like he practices fucking samurai shit now, and he's very wholesome. But I know that he's like a very complex lyricist. I I but what I knew him for wasn't that at the beginning. It was like, you know, what's it called? Kick push, the
Yeah,
skateboarding
yeah.
song. Um, so I realized recently that I need to do my homework on Lupe more.
No, I was just curious because that would have been like right around your time period, and he was big for like a lot of, I guess like a lot of people that.
Oh, and there goes his battery. So maybe next time we'll have I'll see if he can do it indoors maybe. So then the video won't lag in and out. Um, but that was lovely. I'm very grateful for that opportunity. And then I guess while I have you guys for a second, uh, how I ended up talking to Kenny Shane, he one of his music videos was a sponsored ad on Instagram for the song Television, and I heard the lyrics, and you know, sometimes I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I don't really like the sponsored ad. Like you gotta do what you gotta do, whatever. Oh, he's calling me. Yo, no worries, man. I was just wrapping up the video with a little outro here, but I got you on speakerphone now. If you want to say anything to the mic.
Oh shit. Nah, it was a great conversation. Let's do it again soon. This way we do part two and wrap up on everything that we didn't get to touch. But nah, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. And then yeah, let me know with the file and whatnot. I could probably chop it up and take a piece and
For
like chop
sure.
it up into clips and then upload shit sporadically.
Yeah, well, we can. I don't know the best way to send you the whole video since it's gonna be like an hour and a half. Um, we can figure that out
Right.
afterwards. But at the
Alright.
very least, I'll probably upload it to my YouTube channel, just like the full thing.
Oh, okay, cool.
But there might be a better way to just give you the whole file as well. I'll have to look into it
Alright,
afterwards.
cool.
But yeah, I would love to. I'd love to have another conversation, or you know, as many as we feel like having as time goes on. But I super appreciate it, and I
Yeah,
learned a
man.
lot. I'm
Have
very
a good
grateful, and I
time at
enjoyed
your
it.
have a good time at your thing. I gotta run. Baby's crying. I gotta shoot.
Okay,
Alright?
no problem. Thanks again, Kenny.
Alright. You got it, peace.
One love, peace. All right, so I met him through right. So I saw an ad for his song Television, and I was like, this song, it's got bars. Damn, I like that. Like, it was some wise shit about television. Um, so I just liked the song, and then I followed him. I was like, this is a rapper I want to follow. And then he DM'd me on Instagram saying, hey, homie, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. One love. Something like that, right? And I said, my pleasure. I listened to your song Television. It was sponsored. It was a sponsored ad. And I really liked it. And he said, that's great. And I don't really know what we started talking about, but I think he just sent me a voice message. And I was like, whoa. I mean, at this time, I still don't have really a name for myself as an artist besides like the people around me. And that's cool. But even at that time, it was even less so the case. Like my second EP wasn't out; it was just my first EP, right? So I wasn't really he wasn't coming at me like I was some artist or anything. It was just some guy. Um, but what he did there is an example of exactly how I want to be my whole life, right? I don't wherever I get in life, I don't want to. I want people to know that I appreciate, and I know that like ultimately you can't respond to every DM. I'm not any sort of established artist now, and even I feel like I can't respond to every DM sometimes. But like, I know that like the more followers, let's say, you get on various social media things, the more DMs you get, and you can't respond to all of them. It's impossible. So the fact that he did respond to me was special, I will say. Um, and then, yeah, he sent me a voice message just about some shit, and then we were kicking it, just talking back and forth. And then I eventually I wanted to make that montage for Call of Duty, so I used I don't even play. It was just like a phase, but I wanted to use his song Progression because I was listening to it a lot at the time, and I was like, this song is very useful for me. And we just kind of like kept in touch here and there. And I gotta say, like, if I'm just chilling at home, pandemic times, I'm kind of like down, and I see a message from Kenny Shane, I was like, man, there's no like uh reason for me to I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm not owed that or anything, and it was just purely out of his niceness. So um I that act, not even just his art, but that act is something that like I want to carry through as my time goes on. So yeah, it's been a great talk, hour and a half. Sorry about the choppy video, but I think he dropped some gems. You guys got to know a little bit about me and my current journey. Like I can rant a lot for that kind of stuff, but um, some of it you'll just have to find out by listening to what I'm saying in my songs. If you're a engineer, a music engineer out there, and you fuck with sympathetic vibrations, you sympathetically vibe. That's how I would describe myself and my associates. You sympathetically vibrate. And please hit me up. Maybe we can have a relationship, and you can we can be you can be a part of my team. And I would say our team, right? I had an idea that I want to form a team, but I do, in some senses, like leadership roles. A lot of senses, I might say. I have a lyric about it in the song I'm writing right now, but I don't want to. Okay, I'll spoil it. Uh, oh shit. Okay, now my camera battery died. Okay. Well, oh the oh I see. It's not my camera died. It's just that. Okay. Thanks, Clyde. Um, I don't remember what I was saying now. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, in my song Rebirth, I'm just gonna say this little tidbit now. I don't want no shoes, no pants, no t-shirts, but it's in my genes to be a leader. Well, because I'm being reborn, I'm a baby. I don't need no clothes, but it's in my genes to be a leader. Woo! That was my reaction when I wrote that. So, anyways, yeah, sorry, rambling as I usually do. If you are a music engineer, a mastering engineer, I'm gonna try to learn myself, and I would like to, but I'm currently looking for one to be on my team, one that vibes with me, right? Not like purely a financial relationship. If you want to work with me, you fuck with my messages and my vibe, then hit me up. But thanks for staying tuned. I really enjoyed this. I can't wait to have another talk with them again. And I don't know. Should I have like a signature thing that I end things with, like Ron Burgundy? Hmm. Let's see. I'll come up with one some other time. I can't. I feel like I'm putting too much thought into it right now. It's not just flow. I feel like it should just flow out, you know. But what was gonna flow out was "Stay Classy," and that's not original. And I don't even really fuck with "Stay Classy." I like the movie Anchorman, but it's not. This is you're getting a glimpse to who I am. I just ramble. I can kind of go on for a long time. Usually, not all the time, but I got some stuff to attend to today anyway. So, thanks again, everyone. Peace out.